Jeremy Wade, biologist and extreme angler. His life's passion is investigating the myths and legends that lurk in our rivers, lakes, and nightmares. But long before he was the host of River Monsters, Jeremy searched for freshwater monsters well off the public radar. In 2002, a small film crew was sent to document his journey to the Amazon for the first time. This long-lost footage, never before seen by U.S. audiences, captures Wade's pursuit of the Amazon's most prized catch, a giant arapaima. Cameras roll as Jeremy is blasted in the chest by a living missile, and as he lands a prehistoric giant for the first time. And in the most shocking scene of all, Jeremy and his crew are caught on tape, helpless inside a tiny plane as it crashes into the Amazon. A decade ago, adventure fisherman Jeremy Wade came to Brazil in search of the Amazon's most notorious monster, the arapaima. The prehistoric-looking arapaima can grow to 15 feet and weigh in excess of 400 pounds. The arapaima's reputation for being uncatchable on rod and line has ensured that only a handful of adventure fishermen have ever journeyed into the heart of the jungle to catch it. First up is the Amazonian city of Manaus, gateway to the jungle. It is here that Jeremy hopes to pick up a lead in his search for the arapaima.
All fishing really is an attempt to get in touch with something of the mystery of nature. You know, what exactly is going on beneath the surface. And I think the arapaima is really that hunt for mystery taken to its extreme.
The hunt begins nearly 1,000 miles from the mouth of the Amazon. Each day, fishermen from hundreds of miles around gather for an early start at Manaus's famous fish market. At 7 in the morning, the docks are already busy. For Jeremy, it is an ideal opportunity to pick up a lead.
Fishing for me is as much about the place that I go to as about the fish that I'm after. Not only is there a tremendous variety of fish in the world, there's a tremendous variety of places. You've actually got to sort of lower yourself in, get in there deep, get sweaty, get bitten by insects, and get to know the people.
Jeremy meets with a local fisherman to get the lay of the land. He's agreed to show Jeremy around the fish market, where they might find signs of the giant arapaima. It is also an ideal opportunity to meet some of the Amazon's other unusual inhabitants.
So what about this one? What's the name of this one?
This is called cascudo.
Yeah.
But it's very, very rich in iron and vitamin.
It looks almost prehistoric. It looks like something
like
from the age of dinosaurs.
Yes.
Yeah, this one is very similar to the perch we have in England. Do you know the perch?
Yes, yes.
It's got this spiny fin on the top here, and also a stripy pattern on the body.
Yes.
And just wonderful coloration on that, isn't it?
Oh, beautiful color. This is tucunaré. The piranha never cuts this one because this like the fish eye.
Like we have eyes in the back of our head, this has got eyes in its tail, this fish.
Yes.
So the piranha thinks it's being watched and stays away.
The fish market is a freshwater biology textbook come to life.
Right, so this is the famous, the one you were talking about. This is the tambaqui. This is the one that crunches nuts and things. Yeah, but you wouldn't want to get your finger in there, would you, when you're taking the hook out?
You've been through.
It's a bit like a carp that's had some dentures put in, really, isn't it? Had a sort of a mouth transplant.
Yes.
Jeremy stocks up on local knowledge and tackle, then heads upriver in search of a giant arapaima. Along the way, Jeremy meets up with scientist Alejandro Hansrich, who works with a government-sponsored research institute studying arapaima. For the past few years, Alejandro has worked as part of a team pioneering a captive breeding program. Although the team has managed to keep several large arapaima in the institute's ponds, the secret to getting them to breed has so far evaded them. Alejandra has decided to encourage some amorous activity by changing the combinations of male and female fish in his ponds. Trapping one of these temperamental living torpedoes is risky, but Jeremy doesn't hesitate to offer his help.
Quite impressive to see such a huge fish in such a small piece of water. I mean, you can see the size of this. There are people in Britain who keep koi carp in ponds the size of this, and here we've got something which is well over 100 pounds. And what Alex was saying just there is the fewer people in the water, the better, not only so that it doesn't scare the fish, but also because it's a very strong fish, there's a risk of somebody getting hurt.
As the net closes in, the trapped fish start to panic. Arapaimas can weigh as much as 400 pounds. When cornered, their fight or flight response is triggered, causing them to shoot out of the water in distress. Being in the water with these heavyweights is extremely dangerous.
Be careful with the head. Be careful with the head. Okay? Let's put it there.
Have you ever been injured by one of these fish as you work with them? Really bad? What happened?
I was measuring the fish, and as you in the pad, and the head of the fish hit me on my lateral face,
yes,
and I broke 2 teeth.
So this is why you kept telling me to be careful of the head?
No, the other time hit it again in the head,
yeah,
and I was almost knocked out.
Right.
Almost.
The team saves the largest fish in the pond for last. Alex warns Jeremy not to get too close to the net. Jeremy is drilled in the chest by a thrashing 170-pound Arapaima.
That's okay. I got thumped in the chest. Alex had warned me. He said, "Be very careful. Don't stand on the outside part of the net." And as luck would have it, the fish came and it got me right in the breastbone. Luckily, the net was bulging out there, so the force of it was, some of it was taken by the bulge of the net, but. And it actually knocked me backwards, and good job it did, because that, again, lessened the force of the blow a bit. But it's still hurting now. It's about half an hour afterwards, and I can still feel it.
He didn't know it at the time, but medical tests would later reveal the blow caused permanent damage to Jeremy's heart. Despite the pain in his chest, Jeremy's come too far to stop now, and pushes on in search of a wild Arapaima. Jeremy teams up with Lauro, a local fisherman intimately familiar with the maze of rivers and lakes in this western region of Brazil. Before heading into the flooded forest, the two travel to a local spot to get familiar with the river's notorious inhabitants.
Behind you, Cliff. This was very lucky. I've not got wire, so we've got to swing in really quick. I've not got wire. Mind your feet. We've got a black piranha here. Yeah, this is an accidental catch. I wasn't fishing for piranha. I wasn't using wire. I was quite lucky that this didn't get off. It's hooked in such a way that it couldn't bite the line, because even this 80-pound line, it would just gone clean through it. If you get this wrong, it could end up chopping your fingers off. So that makes it slippery. Oh, just a bit funny as well. Laura's going to show us the teeth on this creature. It's all very well sitting back and dreaming up your schemes and methods, but when I actually get to a point where I can fish for the Arapaima, I need to have both physical and mental energy to do the thing properly. And now it's brace myself for the next stage. It's going to get more interesting, for sure.
The team books a small plane to carry them deeper into the flooded jungle. The cameraman on board is documenting the ride. "18 minutes into the flight, the engine starts to sputter. The cameraman keeps shooting as the plane struggles to maintain altitude. In Brazil in 2002, long before River Monsters was on the air, extreme fisherman Jeremy Wade journeyed to the Amazon to catch the notorious arapaima. His crew has booked a small plane to carry them deep into the jungle. Minutes into the flight, the engine fails. The camera rolls as the plane crashes into the flooded jungle.
Hey guys, is everyone okay? Tá todo mundo bem? Yeah. Tudo bem. Obrigado, meu Deus.
The crew tries to make sense of what just happened.
Nossa Senhora.
Jeremy and the crew are incredibly lucky. Everyone survived, rattled, but unhurt.
Graças a Deus. Nunca tinha visto isso, não. Hã? Eu tenho 22 anos de voo. Nunca tinha visto isso, não.
20, yeah. See? This pilot, 22 anos, 22 years flying. This has never happened before, first time.
Explodiu.
Yeah, an explosion, loss of power. The plane started to lose height. He was trying to get power, and we just came into the trees.
How do we get out of here?
How do we get out of here?
Como é que a gente sai daqui agora?
Gasoline seeps into the water as the team escapes with just the bare essentials.
That's our survival kit.
Everybody in town is right. Everybody heard the noise, and the whole town is wondering what's happened. So the sooner we get back and show everybody, Laura's wife in particular. At no point did I feel I was going to die, but I thought serious injury, certainly. I didn't know it was water. The smell was of fuel. I thought it was fuel just rising up around me. I couldn't get the belt undone. Then I thought, the terrible thing there was survive the impact, and now I might drown. But words are just not enough. Words are not enough to... Laura's saying, yeah, we need to get on. Stop.
Yeah.
We can analyse it in huge detail later on and reflect at our leisure. But now is the time just to get out.
Hours after the plane crash, the magnitude of the day's events finally sinks in.
This is really totally unexpected. Yeah, I came here to try and catch some fish, not to wipe myself out. Here I am, an ordinary person, but an extraordinary thing has happened to me. It's amazing what we just accept as normal, take in our stride, but how easily it could have all been different. I couldn't be here now. Poor Laura, his wife, the whole town knew that the plane had gone down, and she must have just had... Must have been terrible for her. Anyway, everyone is everyone's very... We had quite a happy day. We went and had a big lunch, and everything was surprisingly normal. And
Jeremy sleeps off the shock and awakens refocused on his mission to track down the elusive river giant. He and Lauro start fishing early in hopes of hooking into an arapaima.
Jack over here? Something's on mine. Let it take line, slowly. still taking, it's still taking. It's taking very slowly, but I'll... This could be a stingray. It's got that funny sort of... I don't know yet, because it's... yeah, it's got a fiato. A Hyman. The danger is there's a very nasty spine on the tail. Yeah, Laura's saying this is not exactly a favourite of the fishermen. It's not a fish that people like to eat.
Laura says the stingray is known locally as the wish-you-were-dead fish. So rather than risk hauling it into the boat, Jeremy pulls it onto the bank.
48 horas.
Laura's saying that if a stingray sort of manages to stick you in the leg, it's almost as bad as a snake bite. At the very least, you'll get off with 48 hours of pain. At the worst, you could lose your leg. So, hence, you know, we're not sort of cuddling it and gently taking the hook out. We're being, you know, a little bit sort of rustic in our treatment of it. But under the circumstances, no apologies for that. I'll just cut it again in here if you like.
Jeremy cuts the line. He can't risk getting too close to the ray's venomous tail.
Off it goes.
Jeremy's beginning to feel he's catching everything except the arapaima. He and Lauro hooked two different types of catfish. Lauro's catch bears the teeth marks of the Amazon's most notorious fish.
Yeah, Laura's just got this nice pirarara, red-tailed catfish. Look at the tentacle on the mouth of this fish, coming down from the right-hand corner. It's actually got a forked tentacle, which is quite unusual. If you have a look at this, have a look at the fin near where my right elbow is. There's a bit of a bite there. That was probably a piranha on the way in. The piranhas will actually see that, you know, a fish is struggling or attracting attention to itself, and they'll nip in and take a chunk out of the fins.
Some interesting catches, but not the arapaima Jeremy's after.
Laura's just taken me 2 hours into the backwaters, and we're just arriving at a remote community, and there's somebody there called Kaya, and Laura reckons that he can help me get close to the giant arapaima.
Arapaima are a major food source in the Amazon and are prized by local fishermen. The waters near villages are nearly fished out, so Jeremy heads to a remote lake that he hopes will still harbor the elusive giants. In 2002, Jeremy Wade traveled deep into the Amazonian jungle in search of one of the most prized catches in South America, the giant arapaima. But as the arapaima is the major food source to the native people, has he arrived too late?
That's a couple of arapaima. So some fishermen here have caught a couple of arapaima, small ones, he says. Look at that. By our standards, that's a big fish, but small arapaima. And those are basically just to take home to the village to feed the family. Dá para colocar aqui no sol para a gente. Hey. And how about that for lunch? So here's the hole where the harpoon went in. So obviously quite a good shot. Very close to the head end, but not in the gill plate where it might have bounced off, not penetrated. So this fish only very recently dead. And you can see the machete marks on the head where they've actually, once they got it into the boat, to put it out of its misery.
The remains of giants are all around him, but Jeremy hasn't been able to land an arapaima of his own.
Hugely frustrating to arrive, and there is the fish dead on the bank. You know, a real shock to the system. A fish that would have been wonderful to catch and then just, you know, admire and slip back into the water. And, you know, part of me feeling really sort of sick as a result of that. I've no right to feel resentful, but, you know, I've gone to such a huge amount of effort to get this far, and, you know, there it is, there, you know, there's the goal, and in front of me, but, you know, it's snatched from my grasp. This fish would have been great to catch on rod and line. This fish met a different end. I'm going to have to find somewhere else. This particular place here is you know, this is the end, you know, the trail's gone cold for me. It's the end of the line, but it's interesting to see this is the reality of the fish's life and the people's life in this particular place.
The arapaima is proving a tougher catch than Jeremy anticipated. He's beginning to wonder if he'll ever catch one of his own.
I've been here quite a while already, and I've seen the arapaima on a plate surrounded by rice and vegetables and beans. I've had one headbutt me in the chest. But the bottom line is, I came here to catch this thing. It's going to need something more, finding a lake where the fish are still alive, and not a place where they were alive until a few days ago. So that's the challenge now.
Jeremy hooks up with local fisherman Zay Louise, who takes him deeper into the jungle, far from local fishermen.
This place is an absolute maze, just water in all directions, and I've no idea which looks like the most likely route. So I have to have someone here who knows the way. Zay Louise has been going up this particular creek since he was a lad, and certainly without him I'd never get in, and more importantly I'd never get out.
8 hours into the flooded forest, and the best accommodation is an abandoned logger's hut. Staying alive in the jungle takes more than great fishing skills. Survival here demands a strong stomach and an open mind. And as the cook, Zay Louise has got a special treat in store for jungle rookie Jeremy.
So Louise is saying that this has got something inside which we can eat later. Maybe it's a pudding with our fish meal, assuming we get some fish in a few minutes. Di quale árvore? Yeah, silly question. Obviously, they fall down, aided by gravity, and they come from that tree up there. So it's a type of palm nut. They don't look very appetizing, do they? I definitely agree more with his first verdict about what this was useful for, which was fishing bait. I think that'd make a great fishing bait, but for human consumption, yeah, I'm not so convinced. There we are, sort of maggot kebab. Lovely idea. I'm sure we could export that.
The maggots are prepped for eating after a quick roast on the fire.
So I'm trying to remain detached and academic at this point, but there comes a point where the emotions kick in. I'm going to be getting some messages from my taste buds in a little while, and I'm not really quite sure what to expect.
É porque ele fica bem amarelinho.
He says he knows that it's ready to eat when it turns sort of yellow in colour. This one apparently is ready. So here we go. That one's still moving. That's a little bit disconcerting. Anyway, there it goes. Crispy and crunchy. Can you hear that? And that's got like that is sort of bacon roast, sort of grilled bacon taste to it. And actually the texture's really nice. I really like that sort of crispiness it's got. And yeah, sort of liquidy bacon really. But yeah, not bad at all. That's all right. I could live off that if pushed. Obviously, during the time that it's taken to get here, I've needed to eat to keep myself going, and basically the food has been provided by Zay Louise and the cat. They've gone out, put the nets out, and yeah, I've been merrily chomping fish, keeping my energy levels up, but feeding on fish, none of which I have caught. Watching Zay Louise and the cat go about their business of fishing has really made me aware of the difference between their kind of fishing and my kind of fishing, and it's sort of thrown me into a bit of confusion, really. You know, I had this idea, I'll come here and I'll try and catch this fish, but you know, suddenly I'm starting to question the whole exercise. You know, what on earth is the point, really? You know, their fishing has a real reason, a real connection with life, and you know, they're obviously quite puzzled by my motivation, and I'm starting to get a bit puzzled by it as well.
Jeremy heads deeper into the Brazilian rainforest in search of a lake thought to contain the giant arapaima. The waterway becomes thick and tangled, but Jeremy insists they push on. The team transfers the gear into smaller canoes so they can navigate the dense and seemingly impenetrable jungle ahead. Finally, after fighting their way for hours, the team emerges onto the lake. Their timing, it would appear, is perfect.
Well, just where we came in, there was a noise in the water, under the water when we came in, like a sort of a dull sort of, almost like an explosion under the water. And according to the account, that was an arapaima actually under the water taking fright and heading off. So right at the point where we came in. But since then, just in no more than a couple of minutes, there have been 2 or 3 arapaima surfacing down the bottom end of the lake. And this place is just fantastic. It just almost smells of big fish. It's just a tremendous atmosphere. And there's another one rowing over there. Almost certainly no one's yet been here this year, and in my opinion, it looks as if the fish can't get out of here. So it's just perfect timing.
Jeremy waits until nightfall, when the giants are more likely to hunt.
The moment of truth has arrived. There's possibly a little bit of fear creeping in because, I've felt the power of these fish. I've seen the size of them close up. This is the water I had in my mind. There's a real sort of archetypal quality about this place. It is the abode of monsters, no doubt about that. I haven't yet put a bait in. Time to do that. No more prevaricating. This is what I came here for better or worse. Time to do it now.
In 2002, Jeremy Wade traveled deep into the Brazilian rainforest in search of the giant arapaima. After days of trekking to a remote lake, his long journey into the jungle now seems to have been in vain.
I can't believe the total lack of interest. Quite a disappointment so far. It's a bit of a mystery why the fish are that aloof to the bait when they are clearly here in quite some numbers and also quite active as well.
As the sun rises, Jeremy reels in his line. 10 long hours of patiently waiting have brought in no reward. Defeated and frustrated, Jeremy reassesses his tactics.
Zeloise is not just keeping me physically alive in the jungle, he's also very much keeping me sane. He's pretty mystified by what I'm doing here, and the more I get to sort of see what he gets up to in the jungle, I mean, that's starting to rub off on me. What am I doing here? When I arrived at the lake, it looked so good. There were fish rolling, and when night fell, you could actually hear them feeding. But I've now been here 2 nights. Nothing has shown any interest in the baits. I'd be up for staying a bit more and trying different techniques. But basically, Zeloise is my life support system. I can't survive here without him. He needs to get back. He's going to pack the things up and go. And admit defeat really at this stage.
Zeloise returns to his family, but Jeremy refuses to quit. His search for a giant arapaima is energized by a new lead.
Yeah, I've been in the Amazon now several weeks. Not very much in the way of results, but I've learnt a lot. Asking around, I've been directed to a totally new tributary, floodplain lakes, where rumour has it there are giant arapaima. I'm with a chap called Wilson. He knows the river well, and I'm feeling quite excited. I reckon this could be the place where it finally happens. There have been so many dead ends that it's now looking like this perhaps isn't going to happen, and so there's this battle between self-confidence and doubt that's being fought out.
Ah, muito, né? Pegaram 18, pegaram de 83 quilos. A janta 6 horas deles.
Primo Adal is a friend of Wilson's. There's a lake out the back here, and he says there's lots of arapaima there. So as soon as we've had our coffee, we're off hitting the trail. Going to go by foot, but looking forward to checking the place out. Is it a good idea to express too much hope when a place looks good? In the past, things have looked good, and is that the kiss of death to actually say it looks good? But no, this is This does look promising. It's got a real atmosphere, this place.
Battle-weary, Jeremy knows all too well that this could be yet another long night with nothing to show at the end of it. It'll take all of his stamina to remain focused if he is to stand any chance of landing the powerful Arapaima. 12 hours later, and something is finally beginning to take an interest in his bait.
It's coming in towards those weeds. It's potentially a bit dangerous. Yeah.
In 2002, extreme fisherman Jeremy Wade traveled to Brazil in search of the world's largest freshwater fish, the Arapaima. After weeks of fruitless searching, Jeremy is finally hooked into what he hopes is a giant.
It's coming in towards those weeds. It's potentially a bit dangerous. Yeah, there we go. Keeping this clear patch is the idea. It's coming in towards me. Solteixe. Wilson, vai lá. Coloca na água. Bem baixa, bem baixa, bem baixa, bem baixa. Agora! Não levanta, só puxa. Isso. Agora! Levanta, levanta, levanta. Engoliu muito? Acho que não. Uau! Underlines just splashing. I'll just hook that up there. This fish here says about 15 kilos, so 30-something pounds.
It's not the giant he's after, but it's a great start.
So, 1 meter 10, 1 meter 15, something like that. How good to arrive at a place where there are fish and then get a take and then get the fish on the bank. I mean, that's what it's been about. And that feels very good. Not a monstrous fish, but it is the fish that is, you know, practically uncatchable in certain parts of the Amazon, and we found a place where it is catchable, which is brilliant.
Having successfully landed a small Arapaima, Jeremy's confidence soars, and he's now more determined than ever to go after a true Leviathan.
He said there are monsters here, and they're feeding. And if the caimans leave us alone, and the mosquitoes leave us alone, and the gulls don't keep chewing the line, who knows? There might be another one.
With time running out, and Jeremy still eager to catch the 400-pound Arapaima that are known to prowl these waters, Jeremy travels upriver to a man who his guide claims is an expert at locating the monsters.
There's a man who lives on an island just down here in the middle of the river. He's been there with his family for about 20 years. Everybody says he's the person who really knows the river, knows the fish, knows the animals. I'm getting a wee bit desperate. I need that special something to take me to the fish, and maybe he's the man who can give that to me.
Trai aqui pra, né?
Negócio é bom?
Bom, como é que tá? Tudo bem?
Bom,
Tudo bem? Bom demais. Tô aqui com uma trainha atrás.
Yeah, this is Manuel Caraja, who lives on the island here. He's been here for over 20 years, and just from talking to him for a couple of minutes, you know, he knows the place, knows his stuff, and I think, you know, if anybody can help me get close to the fish, then this could be the guy.
Manuel was brought up by Ayama Indians and knows their secrets for catching Arapaima. He's agreed to help Jeremy, but there's a catch. Where they're going, only traditional hand-line fishing techniques are permitted.
Foi muito tarde que a gente parou. A gente pensa que era 2 horas por aí, mas...
Foi tarde, né?
Acho que foi 15 pelas... So, yeah, just looking to look at this. I mean, very, very large hook. The thing is, if you haven't got the fine control of a reel, you know, you're putting a lot of pressure on the hook, and a smaller hook runs the risk of opening. Very thick line here, and a bit of lead to give you a bit of weight to get the bait out. And yeah, this is jumbo stuff. I mean, you know, even fishing for sort of conger eels out of shipwrecks, you know, you use stuff that was a bit thinner than this. That's quite impressive.
Fica com 2 metros, 2 metros e 10, até 2 metros e 20, ele cresce.
Yeah, the lake where we're going has quite a spread of species. It's got the peacock bass, it's got the arowana, it's got piranha, it's got these sort of armor-plated things that live on the bottom. But the most interesting one from our point of view, it has got the arapaima there. He reckons up to, comfortably over 2 meters, 2 meters 10, 2 meters 20. So some pretty hefty beasts in there.
The thought of finally landing a 7-foot living missile makes a restful sleep nearly impossible. The next morning, Jeremy and Manuel head out early to the lake.
Manuel's brought me to this lake, which is, it can't be more than waist deep, and I could easily lob a stone to the other side. And he's pointed out this little flipping on the surface there, almost like water boiling. And what that is a shoal of baby arapaima. And the interesting thing is that this tiny little sign is actually it means the big fish are near. That the two parents, the male and the female, are there somewhere, very, very close to us here. And in order to be breeding size, they've got to be big fish. They've got to be at least 1.5 meters, about the size of me. So there's two very big fish, just out on the end of this weed bed here.
Manuel ensures the monster tackle is ready to cast. For Jeremy, it's now or never.
Manuel's just caught a couple of good-sized triera here, and one now he's just cut up, and we've got 4 good baits out of that. So one of those is going to go in close to where the 2 big fish are. Pode falar para mim? Agora, momento mesmo para.
Just moments after the bait is cast, Jeremy hooks into something huge.
It's taking line, it's taking line, it's taking line. So, agora? Agora mesmo? Let me come here, let me come here.
In 2002, Jeremy Wade traveled to Brazil in search of the Amazon River's giant arapaima. He's now at a lake thought to hold the massive monster, but must follow local rules, requiring a hand line instead of rod and reel. On the last day of his trip, Jeremy is finally hooked into something huge.
Well, I mean, it happened in no time. Look at that, shaking his head. It's right into the bank. Manuel's been giving me instructions, hardly time to think. It looks like it might be tied out already on this strong line, but this is always the dangerous time when they're right in close. Manuel, a gente vai pegar agora? De mão? Or... No. Let me come here, let me come here. Don't let him go to the wood, he said. Go to the wood, bring him round this way, this way, this way. Yeah, agora. And when he's tiring, he's tiring. The fish is now motionless in the margins, his eyes are out of the water, looking at me accusingly. He might give a sudden kick. There's always that danger. I know he says, pick it up in the Nagueira. So get in the gills, lift it, lift it, lift it, and then pull. Pull, pull, pull. 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 Good heavens, this is a heavy fish. Look at that. I'm going to be very careful of that hook. Yeah, very. He says, watch the headbutt, and then that very moment. Yeah, I'll keep my head well out of the way. Agora. Está seguro agora, eh? Wow. Look at that. That was what was beneath that tiny, tiny boiling on the surface. Tiny sign, and what a huge fish. Good heavens. Same size as me, that fish, more or less. Agora, para voltar? A linha, this has to be the biggest, well, this is without a doubt, biggest freshwater fish I've ever caught in my life. On
the very last day of the trip. Manel's saying it weighs 90 kilos. And it's the same size as I am. Look at this, the length is the same as me. Huge, look at this red marking here on the stomach. Macho femia?
Femia.
Reckons it's a female. And yeah, huge scales, huge head. What a monster. I think we should get it back. It's right, time to get it back.
Jeremy's reward for weeks of fishing in the Amazonian rainforest? A 200-pound, 6-foot arapaima.
Posso deixar? Whoa! It's gone already. I mean, you know, has it sunk in yet? It hasn't sunk in. There's so much time here, so close, so many times. Always something going wrong. Always some sort of dead end. And I got to the point. Today's the last day. You know, it was going to be. You know, I was just going to be going through the motions here. I was going to lob something out. I was going to wait. I was going to go home. Manel very confident, but part of me didn't really believe that. And yeah, it's happened on the last day. Fantastic. Fantastic. Can't get any better than that. Yeah, during this trip, I have really come to question this whole business of what it is to be a sport fisherman. You know, the luxury of choosing to fish for fish that you don't really need. And today, I could have just come here and watched that fish in the water and you know, got a real appreciation of it from that. And indeed, I did. You know, I spent sort of you know, an hour or so watching the water where it was. You know, was it really necessary to drag it out by its lips? You know, subject it to the indignity of, you know, being pulled out into the air. I don't know. I think, yes, it was. I can't explain why. You know, fishing connects with something very deep inside all of us, I think. You know, I certainly feel this need to catch fish, and I can't explain it very well. But possibly having caught this fish today, I won't feel that need so strongly in future. I don't know where I can go from here, to be honest. You know, this is in many ways, you know, the culmination of my angling career. Anything after this is going to be an anticlimax.
Back then, Jeremy could not have predicted the extraordinary adventures that lay ahead. Nearly a decade later, his River Monsters series follows his quest for the most elusive freshwater giants on the planet. In many ways, Jeremy's angling career had only just begun.